Hey everybody, welcome to our Palworld Survival Guide. We're doing a Pal kind of highlight today. We're going to run through the Paldeck eventually, but obviously the very tippity top of the list is Lamball. So that's what today's episode is going to be all about, Lamball. We're going to go over basically the different stats that it does, its uses, and if you want to, breed it, the different breeding combinations, all that. Just an exclusive, if you will, on Lamball. So let's talk about the adorable little pal. Now, Lamball obviously tends to be kind of like, he tends to be one of the very first pals, if not the first pal that you catch in the game. And then he kind of gets put on the back burner, which is totally understandable because he is very much a starter pal. But hey, you know what? I feel like he has, some uses that extends his use perhaps beyond just the first few days in the game. But let's just quick get into some quick info. First, obviously, Lamball is a neutral type, which means that he is weak to dark types. And he's not particularly strong against any other type. He doesn't have an advantage over any other type. We can kind of see that with the element guide here. Where are we at here? There you are. So it's not like it doesn't have a particular strength against anybody, but that being said, it's only weak to dark. So it would do basic damage, I would say, to all the other types, which is pretty cool. Just weak to dark, basically. So that's kind of nice in that regard. Now the PAL number for this guy, obviously also a number 1. There he is. Lovely. And if we go into, well, I guess we'll just quick go over his description. The game itself describes Lamball as a walk up a hill tends to end with this PAL tumbling back down. This causes it to become dizzy and unable to move, making it easy to capture and kill. As a result, this PAL has tumbled down to the very bottom of the food chain itself. And I agree with that. This is very much like your bottom feeder. He, and I've seen it in action too, where they try to run up a hill and they just can't quite do it. They end up kind of getting stuck. Which is just adorable and unfortunate for this thing. If this was real world, these would probably be almost extinct, let's be honest. But let's talk about its work skills. So Lamball has a level 1 in handiwork, a level 1 in transporting, and a level 1 in farming. And honestly, because he has a different amount or different work skills, he's actually a pretty great starter pal, just because he covers all of these just from the get-go. And that's a lot of the beginning things that you need done at your base. At the very start, these are the key kind of working skills that you need. You don't really need to worry about mining and lumbering right from the start, because you can kind of do that at your yourself. But this guy can help you start building up your base. He can start kind of collecting things around the ground, and then once you get your food going, he can start helping to farm that. So he's a really great starter pal in my opinion. And even beginning to mid-tier, I would even say he can kind of pick up the slack, if you will, of your other pals. So pretty great for that, honestly. Now, when you defeat or capture a Lamball, he does have these possible drops, which is wool and Lamball mutton. And the mutton in particular is pretty great because they're so easy to kill or catch. You can kind of farm a lot of this mutton, and it does a little bit more, it's a little bit more better of a food than berries, for example. So if you want it to really kind of keep your pals productive or make sure that you yourself are full with ease, go kill some Lamballs or go capture a bunch, however you want to approach it. And you can accumulate quite a bit of mutton through that process. Now, wool itself is also a pretty kind of needed resource, because you need wool to make cloth, and then you need cloth to make other items, whether it be armor or whatever. So the great thing about Lamball is that, and this kind of goes into his partner skill, or one of his partner skills, is that when you assign him to the ranch, like I have done over here, he will start to drop wool. All that wool that you see is just him alone. It's just our guy. He's hanging out. He's doing his thing. So that's amazing. And that's just an easy way to have a lot of wool, really, to farm it. Now, obviously, he'll go on and do some other stuff, but if you assign him to the ranch, at the very least, you have this ongoing wool farm. Now, his other partner skill, we'll kind of go back into this. Oops, there we go. is called the Fluffy Shield. And as you might expect, it kind of says here, when activated, it equips to the player and becomes a shield. And he literally does that. Like, if I quick put him in my party, we can see you can actually use him as a physical shield. And I do feel bad because he's really not happy about it. He has such a sad little face. All right, let's go here. Larry, one of the few pals that I've actually named. Let's go ahead and throw him out. We'll quickly leave the base here for this. There we go. And then we can be going on Fluffy Shield. He'll come over to us. And we can see, like, just look at his face. He's so unhappy. He's like, no, please, don't. But basically, you just hold this guy, and he literally just kind of is your shield for a little bit. And you can, like, shoot and stuff behind him and all that. That's kind of how he works. He literally takes damage for you, and I do feel so bad for him because he's just so unhappy. But that is his main partner skill, is that he does act like a shield for you. We're gonna put him back where he belongs. But yes, that's like his primary use there. Then obviously you can assign him to the ranch as well. Let's put you back there, buddy. Do your thing. There we go, and I'll assign him to where he. We'll just do it. I know you're being productive, but I gotta make sure you're back on the ranch, my bud. So that's how that works. Now, what is like his kind of like main uses? Obviously, as we have seen, he can be used for defense. If you're out there in the world and you need a quick shield or something, that's definitely a great way to do it. And I would definitely say, like, it's very actually useful in, like, the beginning few levels because, you know, you might not have, like, your shield up exactly just yet. And even if you do, like, that's another shield, you know, a shield on a shield, right? For you to use. So, you know, he's kind of good for, like, defense. He's obviously good for passive wool accumulation, wool farming, I would say. So that's pretty nice as well. A great starter pal in my opinion because his work skills, because he has like several, he doesn't have just like one. He kind of covers like a bunch of different things. You know, he can get a lot done in those early days for you, which is just lovely. And then obviously I would also say that the thing about Lamball is that he's actually really good for early game leveling because as this game kind of works, like, you know, if you capture like 10 versions of the same pal, it really boosts your level up. And because Lamball's so easy to catch, it's very easy to get like 10 of him and just boost yourself up a few levels. So I think that, you know, he's also really great for, you know, if you focus on capturing a bunch of them, really great for early game leveling. Now, if you want to breed this guy, either because you want some Lamballs or you want to, you know, try out the breeding combinations and see how, you know, the skills work and all that or whatever, the passive skills. Here's the different combinations, and there's quite a few. So you can breed Lamball with a Mao and a Cativa, a Mao and a Vixie, a Mao and a Cremis, a Mao Christ and a T-Font, a Mao Christ and a Chickapee, Leaf Monk and Chickapee, T-Font and Vixie, T-Font and Cremis. Obviously, Lamball and Lamball will also make a Lamball. And then Lamball and Cativa will also make a Lamball. So if you're kind of curious about how that works, or if you just want to try out breeding without, like, messing anything up, there you go. Those are the different combinations. Now, finally, where can we find Lamballs, right? Where are we at here? There we are. Habitat. As you can see, he's a very common spawn. Obviously here in all kind of like all the beginning areas, a little bit more in the advanced, like the middle area. You could find him almost everywhere, just not over here, which is like really interesting to me. But basically, you know, all the southern little islands, a little bit of like the western islands, you will find him. And he spawns like in a pretty good amount of numbers too, so he's a very common spawn. So pretty easy to, I would say, to get like those 10 versions of him that you need. And then if for whatever reason, you know, if you want to put him through the PAL condenser and make a really, really strong Lamball, which, I mean, hey, I think he's pretty decent, so I wouldn't, you know, fault you for wanting to do that. You know, that's where you can find him aplenty to capture and then, you know, get your essence condensing going on. But that is all about the Lamball. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any other kind of like tips or work uses that you want to share for Lamball, do let us know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you the next one. Until then, keep surviving and keep thriving.